Good evening, and welcome to the St. Petersburg by Night podcasting network. Tonight, we present to you our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, Don't Get Caught.
Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the St. Pete by Night Twitch channel where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer tabletop role-playing game set in the world of darkness. We play Vampire the Masquerade, Hunter the Reckoning, and Werewolf the Apocalypse. My name is Crafty Mirage, also known as Nikki, and you can find me on all social media at Crafty Mirage. And I am one of the storytellers here on St. Pete by Night. Make sure to check out St. Pete by Night on all of our social media platforms. We're on Twitter, we're on TikTok for as long as it remains, and we're on Instagram and YouTube. But you should check us out on our website, stpetbynight.com, where we have our city map, we have our storyteller profiles, we have a list of all of our games, and we have our one-of-a-kind threat meter, keeping us all involved and intertwined in this crazy, crazy setting. If you aren't already a subscriber here on Twitch, you should go ahead and hit that follow button and catch up on our past episodes. And if you're interested in playing with us, come join our amazing Discord and be a part of our incredible community. Today we are playing Don't Get Caught, one of the chronicles here on St. Pete by Night. Let's introduce our players.
Hi, Krazaz. I play Rex Elias, the ambitious Nosferatu.
Hi, I'm Kent, normally the lead storyteller of St. Pete by Night, but tonight I will be playing Sebastian, King of the Jungle de Leon, the Baron of Tarpon Springs.
Things have been tense up in the Anarch territories lately, with the knowledge of a potential Anarch upstart and a Ventru fledgling potentially recruiting for the cult of Mithras. Things have been very tense. The prince of the St. Petersburg Camarilla going as far as to give an edict to make all the Anarchs in the Anarch territories north of the city suspect to the Camarilla. The sects stayed divided for a while until such time as Sebastian de Leon handed over Valerie Monet to the Camarilla and left her to her fate. This left Rex without any knowledge of what happened to his coterie mates. After getting the job done and defeating the White that had been prowling around the sewers of Tarpon Springs, Rex retreated to the coterie haven for the night, only to get a dominant directive from the Baron themselves to vacate the premises so as to not make a mess. That was a couple weeks ago. Today, Rex, you haven't seen hide nor hair of Valerie. You haven't seen hide nor hair of Avery. You haven't seen anyone from your coterie. The haven has been empty. No one's answering their text messages or phone calls. So you've fallen back into your day-to-day life, which is dealing drugs on the street, investigating the sewers as best you can, and waiting for any information from your Baron. Tonight is one of those nights. You find yourself on the street, wandering around, patrolling your territory because you have nothing else to do. What's going on in your mind right now since the events that happened in the neutral zone and since Valerie has disappeared?
Well, Rex has been mostly keeping to himself. He has made some assumptions based on that night. Valerie did say that she was involved in the mess that was the problematic tea party. So Rex is easily going to assume that when he was puppeted, that it must have involved Valerie somehow, and that's why she's gone. No idea what De Leon would be doing with her or River. Haven't seen him either. So he's just wandering the streets with questions on his mind and nothing to answer them.
As you're thinking on this and pondering, just waiting to see if you can potentially score some cash tonight, a black SUV pulls up and pulls to a stop right beside you as you're standing on the sidewalk. The driver's seat window rolls down and you see Marcos in the driver's seat. And casually puts his arms on the steering wheel and looks at you. Sup, bruh?
Not much. You here to give me news or something?
Keeping busy?
Best I can. Real quiet these nights.
Yeah, well, we like it that way. As for the news, why don't you hop in? And he gestures to the back.
Yeah, I got nothing going on anyway. Sure, why not? Go ahead and hop on in.
You hop into the back seat of the SUV, and it's one of those like passenger SUVs that has like the seats that face each other in the back, like one of those high-end ones. And inside you find the Baron himself, Sebastian de Leon.
Rex, good evening.
Good evening, sir. I didn't expect to see you in a van.
Rarely do I expect to see myself in such a position, but I knew that we had to talk. A lot has happened in the past few weeks that I felt you should be brought up to speed.
That would be appreciated.
Before we get to all that business, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
What is your ambition? What do you crave? What do you wish to accomplish in this unlife?
Well, I've been thinking about that a lot. At first, it was simply climbing the ladder, getting under your wing, I guess. But these nights, the more I've thought about it, the more I've looked around. How would you feel about expanding the Anarch territories?
I have thought of this myself. Expansion is always on my mind. The issue with expansion, my dear Rex, is how capable one is of keeping the territory that they expand to. I have thought of moving northward. I have even had my eyes on the south. I am always interested in furthering my business, in furthering my reach. But I'm also, whether you would believe it or not, a man with some humility. So I know not to go beyond my means.
Well, let's just say I've been looking. And frankly, just north of Tarpon, across the little bay there, there's a nice power plant that is under Camarilla control, from what I've gathered. If they were to try to take the Anarch territories, St. Pete Peninsula in general, all they'd have to do is hit that, just press a button, entirety of Tarpon's down. And so, it's a nice little location, and, you know, one day I'd think to become an equal in this area. I'd like to take that for myself. You don't have to expand beyond your means.
You wish to be a baron?
Yes, sir. A lot's been going on in Tampa Bay lately. There was that explosion at that power plant, just eastward, and you know, they're probably scrambling because of that. Who's to say that they won't do the same there, whoever this terrorist is, or terrorists?
Perhaps. Is that an issue you wish to get in the middle of? Do you wish to get involved in those affairs, potentially become a target of them?
Better me than you, I guess.
True. I can't argue with this logic. You know that there is also a power plant to the south in St. Petersburg proper that is controlled by the Camarilla as well.
Yes, but I feel like we're a little more buddy-buddy with them than the ones to the east. If they were to both turn on us, that would be even a easier deal of ease for them. Just shut off both power plants. The only thing left is probably the neutral zone, and even then, not really.
So this power plant, that is as far as your interest goes in the north? Or do you have eyes on something else that you are not speaking of?
I just like to take every place that says holiday on there. I think it's thematic, and I think it's just about right. It's mostly a retiree census designated place, as Wikipedia says, but it's got its own community. It goes up to a little dividing line by a street. I forget its name.
It's also a shithole, Rex. And it is not good for your business interests or mine. If I wanted to peddle to retirees, I would just get my hands on some Viagra and chuck it like a grenade into the middle of their retirement complexes. It's easy pickings. There's no challenge to it. And honestly, that is investing in a very, very quickly decaying community.
Oh, well, it's not just retirees. It's got its own school. It's got its own systems. It's not... I jest when I say it's retirees, but it's got its own merits. Hey, I'm a shithead of a guy. Why not give a shithead a shithole? It's fine. I take what I can get.
It's an interesting notion, one that perhaps could be expanded upon, although we have managed to succeed in keeping the territory that we currently have without drawing the ire of the Tampa Camarilla. The further north that you go, you expand and you open yourself up to the mainland, giving them greater access and greater interest in what you are doing, whereas we have maintained our confinement primarily to the peninsula, which gives its own natural protection. But I'm not really worried about the power plant. I'm not really worried about Tampa. Like you said, they have their own issues that they are dealing with, clearly. But these issues could also cause them to become quite erratic, quite violent at any further incursions that they feel upon their boundaries. But there is some wisdom in what you say. Getting some influence and some control within that power plant specifically could be beneficial. This is very true. As far as your ambitions, my dear Rex, I like where your head is at, but I think you're looking the wrong direction.
I've kept that in mind.
Ian Farrow is a threat. There is no doubt about this. He has some wild socialist ideals that make him, in a word, problematic, to say the very least. He has this notion that all kindred are created equal and should have no control. And while I admire that, it's not realistic. It's not something that can withstand the tests of time. The only reason the Anarchs shrugged off the Camarilla, they revolted, they rebelled, wasn't because they don't believe in a hierarchy. It's because they don't believe in a hierarchy they can't see, a hierarchy they can't kill if they become problematic. There still needs to be order. There still needs to be rule. There still needs to be one at the top making the decision for the others. Sometimes those decisions are difficult. Ian Farrow is a problem because he is not openly opposed. I've been fine making nice with him, letting him have his little paradise. But there is something even more appetizing to the south of him. Now, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to speak with the co-barons, but they already have made a mistake in establishing two of them of equal power. And frankly, I haven't seen them do anything that is newsworthy, to say the very least. They just sit there in their happy little territory unopposed because Ian Farrow has no ambition of his own to expand. And if he does, he's being quite sluggish about it.
I see your point. Pharaoh has been on my list, and no, I have not met the co-barons. I wish I had. Maybe at some point I will. But you're right. I haven't heard anything. At least when it comes to talking with Pharaoh, he makes a splash, to say the least. The man talks like a snake, dodging every single word that he conjures in his mind. Wants to say something and there's like, oh, nope, I can't say it's mine. It's clearly ours. Like, if this person was truly the socialist mastermind he wishes to be, he wouldn't have to dodge his words. He would understand that ownership exists even within such systems. It's
Ventru.
It's Ventru, and it's comedic, frankly. All of my coterie mates, current and former, ? I don't know what you did with Valerie. I don't care. But they all agreed that something was off about him, and every single other kindred I've talked to has agreed that there's something off with Pharaoh. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should be looking southward. I'll consider it, sir. Any other suggestions?
Consider this. If we have an equal accord, if we are on the same page, we can help one another. And we can stop these snake-like ideals from expanding further if we have control to the north of him and to the south of him. And then over time, we tighten the clamp. And we squash whatever ridiculous ideals he has and restore the Anarch territories to what they should be, not what he idealizes them to be.
Maybe. Sounds like it would be almost too easy with the way you put it in those words. I don't know what the co-barons do, but if they're as weak as you say, maybe this could be as simple as that.
They do nothing. They failed their way into their positions. Dorothy was the last surviving baron of a democratic vote because the others were even weaker than her. And the only way she's maintained her power was aligning herself with Zeke, a blacksmith assassin who is little more than a sharp blade and a keen eye. Yes, that one is dangerous, but he does not know how to lead. He does not know how to command. He simply knows how to kill, a one-man army. That is a snake that if you cut the head off, the body will very much quickly die.
Yeah. Okay. I'm liking what you're thinking.
Also, the one who controls the South has the greatest ability to manipulate the neutral zone. Greater access. And in your trade, in our trade, the neutral zone is very profitable territory.
It's a great point.
Just something to consider. But I do think that you have some wisdom in regards to this power plant, in regards to Holiday. So, perhaps we have a bit of a test. A test to see if you do have what it takes to be a baron of your own. Help me expand my territory and influence to the north. Help me take this power plant and this retirement community. And if you do this successfully, I assure you, you will have the full weight of my influence in anything you wish to do in Dunedin and the southernmost barony.
I'll take you up on it.
Wonderful. But I'm sure you have questions and I have answers. You have earned my respect, you have done everything I have asked, and you have, despite certain setbacks, proven yourself to be a leader. So tell me, what do you wish to know about the others?
That's a good question. I guess I hadn't been thinking about it too hard. How's this? Who is the sweeper of the southernmost barony?
I believe that is still Lucian. I do not think they established a sweeper of their own, but as I said, Baron London is quite capable in militant means and probably patrols his own territory.
Interesting. What is... This is more of a being a bear in question. I have made a deal with Valerie, if she still lives after whatever you've done with her. She was going to help me with this ambition of mine. Now, seeing as how that might be switching here soon, she still aligns with me on that. How does one establish a sub-leader, a lesser baron, a noble, I guess, if you want to put it in our feudalistic terms?
You don't. You should be the top and all the others should be beneath you. If you wish to assign them some sort of honorific to make them feel important, to make them feel listened to, you could make them a sweeper. You could make them a chameleon. There are a few titles that we have that you could dish upon them, but there should always only be one baron.
Of course. The barony title was never on the line for her, at least. It was always a you get my respect and you get a position to satisfy your little venture needs kind of thing.
Well, I'm not sure how much longer that respect will last, as she is currently in Camarilla hands.
So that's what happened. Well, I guess that makes sense. Hopefully, they don't beat her too hard. Or, well, however it works out, it will work out. So, off of that topic, if you were today going to attack one of the other baronies, how would you do it?
You're assuming that I haven't begun already.
Good point. I'm talking tactics-wise.
I would destabilize their community. I would start causing lesser problems throughout. In the case of the co-barons, I would do everything in my power to cause a division between them, have them turn on one another. Assume that one is making a play to remove the other. Dorothy has a particular interest in the hospitals and the organ trade, so I would find a way to sabotage her supply, poison her choice of delicacy. I would start causing problems within the hospitals, possibly embezzlement, possibly product going missing. I would manipulate the kind doctors there to start making mistakes on a regular basis in their surgeries and in their practice. I would drive down the value of their businesses and cause so much internal conflict that the barons can't help but be distracted and start to look towards the other as the source of the problems. When they start to turn on one another, they will start to make moves of their own, further destabilizing the area. As one knows, you can never trust another kindred, and if you do, you are a fool. So as that distrust grows, they will start to make attempts on one another. Start doing subtle attacks that will grow larger and larger, and when it becomes a full-scale conflict breaking out between the two, I would wait until they are at their weakest, and then I would strike, removing both.
That's always the problem with co-ownership, isn't it?
That's why we don't do it. That's why the Camarilla doesn't do it. Co-ownership, socialism doesn't work because kindred are greedy. They are ambitious. We are predators. We don't cohabitate. We associate.
Sounds about right.
I'm going to tell you something. Something that I have carried with me ever since I became a kindred. A lesson from my kind life, if you will. Something that very few know about me. How old do you think I am, Rex? And you don't have to be modest. I know I look like a charming 23-year-old. But how old do you really think I am?
Let's say 245.
Would it surprise you to hear that I am less than 100 years old?
No, not at all.
I was born a Cuban revolutionary. I grew up with very little, almost nothing. I was embraced because of my looks and charm, sure, but that isn't what made me dangerous. Those were just tools at my disposal. I thrive because I survive. I lived in the Camarilla for many, many years. I rose up through their ranks, even achieving the rank of Toreador Primogen of Miami. But when I saw the tide starting to shift, when I knew what the prince was planning to do, I went to the winning side. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what side you're on. It matters that you outlive your enemies, not that you defeat them.
I guess that's the nature of us, isn't it?
Always has been, always will be. When the Sabbat was at its peak, many joined their ranks, not because they believed in their cultish and insane religious beliefs, but because they were winning. And as soon as they failed, as soon as they left and started to decay, what did the La Sombra do?
Came scrambling to the GAM, right?
That's right. They went to Chicago on hands and knees, begging and kissing the boot of the Camarilla because they need to survive, to thrive. If you always keep your own survival at the forefront of your mind, you can go far in this.
That's always been my advantage within their cartel and before. I've always been a sneaky little bastard.
And that's why you've come as far as you have. And that's why you are going to go even farther. I killed the other leaders of the cartel because I knew one day one of them could do that to me and would probably attempt to. So I struck first. Survive to thrive. I know that all of this could be gone in an instant. But I'm not going to fight till my last undying breath to protect it. No, I will move on and I will start over somewhere else.
It's a good point.
I didn't hand Valerie over to the Camarilla because I have some sort of love for them. I did it because I knew what could come if I did not. I am as loyal to the Anarchs as any Anarch should be. But I know when I am outmatched, and I know what I have to do to stay in the game, to survive. Valerie brought danger to our barony. She brought danger to our movement because she couldn't hold her tongue about her beliefs. So rather than face an army of Camarilla at both borders, I gave them what they wanted. She did the crime, she should do the time. And better her than me.
Sounds about right.
And I expect one day, Rex, if it comes down to you or me, you would do to me what I would do to you. I would expect nothing less. Thankfully, it is not that day yet.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Not today. Maybe not in a while. We'll see.
I hope not. I'm a little bit further ahead than you, Rex. It would be a very, very unfortunate circumstance for you. This is why I don't have any interest in you being on my northern border, but instead to the far, far south, so that we can take out what stands between us, profit off of what they have already grown, and then perhaps when our greed gets to the point that we are looking at each other, then we can see where we are. But for the time being, a mutual enemy benefits us both.
You're right. I'll look into taking out the co-barony. If you could be so kind, however it works out, you could arrange a meeting with me for them. I'm sure we can figure something out. I'll get what information I can from them, and whatever other messes might be around, and I'll see where I can go from there.
I'll arrange a meeting under the guise of taking product to and from the neutral zone. Nothing too problematic, perhaps access to their back roads to avoid the highways and the kind authorities. We'll start with something small like this, but you should start your destabilization now. Use whatever kind influence you have. Use your associates among the kind community and start sending them southward. The last thing they should ever see, the last thing they should ever learn is who is behind it all, right before you kill them.
Yes, sir. That sounds great. I've got a few associates within the cartel already that live within the area.
No. Stay away from the cartel. That is too much of a lead back to us. Create your own groups. Use some of the lesser street gangs. Go about and make new contacts and new resources at your disposal that you can send in that have no affiliation to our organization. They can't be able to tell it was us, because it is likely they will catch one of them eventually.
Good point. I'll see what I can do. If you may not know, because it might not have gotten to you yet, I've already been promoted on the smaller in cartel side. I've started distributing, and frankly, that's an excellent excuse, because the acquirements that we made last month still need to be properly distributed amongst the southern baronies. I can get that over to them. I have become a distributor. I have already looked into hiring more kind off the street young whippersnappers with a penchant for party time and money. So maybe, yes, I'll look into people from that area. It's people that are less suspicious. Don't tell them that they're part of the cartel. Just some local dealer. They won't care where I'm getting the stuff. They'll only care about getting it, getting their money from it, and staying loyal. If they can. I'll root them out.
Create a go-between between you and them as well. As Marcos is to me, they should be to you. Someone to act in your stead. Create as much distance between you and the ones that you are willing to dispose of as possible. Someone you trust, but someone who will not mention your name. Someone who act as the head of the snake when the head is even further up than they know.
Good point. That can be arranged.
I have always kept an eye on your progress, Rex. I always keep an eye on any kindred within our organization. So yes, I do know you've been doing good things, which is why we are even having this conversation to begin with.
It's always good to be looked after.
You have a great deal of potential. You have the resources and wit of the Nosferatu, and that makes you extremely dangerous. But youth makes one overconfident. In your mind, like I said, survive to thrive.
Survive to thrive. Yes, sir.
And we have nothing but time, so make the use of it. There is no need to rush.
Eyes down south. Start now. Be patient. Got it.
And take care of that power plant for me. Get it within our borders, and you will have even more at your disposal.
All right. I'll see what I can do.
Very good. As for Avery and Valerie, they are no longer your concern, just as they are no longer mine. And should they return, do not trust them. Use them if you see fit, but do not trust them, especially Valerie. Though I don't see any way she could return, it's just as likely the Camarilla may try to make her a plant within our ranks.
That's a good point. Using her was always my plan. She's better at talking and manipulating than I am. Especially with that Ventru eyes, mind fuckery bullshit. But her business acumen, her ability to lead, that's why I talked with her in the first place. That's why she was the first person I approached with this. The way she was able to ask more from you after you had just blown a dude's fucking face off was admirable to me. So, yes, I do plan on using her. And yeah, you're right. I shouldn't trust her, especially not after this transaction between her and the Camarilla, that if she comes back. And whatever other coterie mates you might throw my way, trust me, I'll use them just the same.
I know that you will. Valerie's benefit was outweighed by her drawback, and that's why I handed her over. She became more of a problem than a benefit. If you think of this, with each and every kindred that you associate with, you will survive.
I'll keep that in mind.
Then I think we have an understanding and a beneficial relationship beginning to form. Just don't get too eager too fast. If your drawback outweighs your benefit, I'd hate to see that happen to you, with one with so much potential.
I promise you, that won't happen.
I'm going to hold you to that. But if anyone can convince me that is the case, it is you. You understand what it is to come from humble means. Now let's help you rise to greatness.
That's the kind of talk that got me on this train in the first place. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it.
Is there anything else you wish to know? Might as well take advantage of the opportunity to be in my luxurious presence before I dump you back out on the street again.
Fair. Who is Avenera? Is it you?
Oh no. No. Although in a way, yes. That's the beautiful thing of making children.
It's Carmen, isn't it?
You're not dumb after all. See.
See, the reason I didn't think it was her at first was, well, I don't know if she was the type to promote other businesses. But
That's how she got started and caught my eye in the first place.
fair enough. I'll keep that in mind. I don't like owing anyone anything. She tried to threaten me with information, if you catch my drift. I'll have to talk to her next time I see her.
Be careful what you say. She enjoys the anonymity she thinks she has earned. But she is, like all things, another tool that, if used correctly, can be very beneficial. And tell her she's pretty. She loves that.
I'll keep that in mind. I've always tried to dress to impress every time I've gone to her parties. Ever since the first time, that is. I try to keep her on my good side.
Be humbled in her majesty. Enjoy her club. Compliment her profusely, and she becomes putty in your hands. She loves approval.
Sounds fun. What else is there? What is the situation with Savannah? I haven't yet to meet her, but, I know she's the sweeper here.
Savannah was my way in. She was one of the first to help establish the Anarch territories. She started the truce with the Camarilla, and the other barons underestimated her value and her worth. Thin bloods, while unusual, while seemingly abominations in the eyes of true kindred, can be very useful. They are the future. Savannah is an investment in the future. She controls many laboratories all throughout the peninsula where she practices her art, her alchemies. She is just an investment in what is to come. If I stay on the cusp of innovation and invention, then I get to control it. You don't think she afforded all those labs herself, do you?
I don't know much about her business, but that makes all the sense in the world.
The Thin Bloods are what we are evolving into. Rather than be stuck in the past, I embrace the future. And I do love a good bit of chemistry myself in our trade.
Perhaps one day there will be no clans. Just a bunch of Thin Bloods.
Most likely, yes, assuming that we aren't bred out entirely. But that is not something I seek to concern myself with. I seek to still be here when it all ends.
That's a lofty belief indeed. Hopefully I can stay the same.
If anyone can do it, you can, Rex. You have a pragmatic mind.
To the future, I guess. To the future.
To the future, Baron.
The car pulls up by the sidewalk and pulls to a stop.
Is this my stop then?
For now. Just one stop of many along the way.
Yeah. Just another stop. We'll see. I'll see you some other time, Baron de Leon.
I am always at your disposal.
I'll keep that in mind. Thank you very much. I guess Carmen's not the only one who likes compliments.
Yes, but some of us have earned those compliments.
And I hope to earn them too. Have a good night, sir.
Buenas noches.
The Rex, you get out of the SUV and are right in the same spot that Marcos picked you up at. And you watch the SUV drive off and away. And that is where we're going to end this vignette of Don't Get Caught. Thank you so much for joining us this far, and we will see you after the break.
St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaborations with our partnered vendors, Wolfpack Dice, Ember Fox Dice, Dragon Ink Dice, Bear the Bard, Champs Tramps, Penshi Artista, and Chromatic Creations. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpbynight.com. The official theme song for St. Petersburg by Night is Vampire by Faith and Failure. You could find them at faithandfailure.com. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all socials with the hashtag St. Pete by Night. If you wish to support our program, you can do so at coffee.com/St. Pete by Night to help keep the stories rolling.
I'm Jay, playing Valerie Monet, the venture who may have done a little oopsie.
Hey everybody, my name is Preston. I will be playing Edward Bateman, the primogen of the Ventru.
So, last we heard from Valerie, she was getting in a car with Baron Sebastian de Leon to deal with the situation that transpired in the neutral zone, where she had revealed secrets of the cult of Mithras in front of a Camarilla official and spread mass panic across the entire peninsula. Sebastian went ahead and handed over Valerie to the Camarilla deputies of St. Petersburg to have Prince Carmine handle the situation as he saw fit. When Valerie was brought before the Prince of St. Petersburg, he made the decision to surrender her to her sire, Agnes Babel, one of the Ventru of Tampa. It's been a couple weeks since then. Valerie has had little to no contact with anyone aside from Agnes's ghouls and being given the incorrect blood throughout the past 2 weeks, just to make sure that she's fed. Today we find ourselves in an office building known as Babylon. Babylon is a PR firm in Tampa run by Agnes Babel, the owner and CEO of this PR firm that has ties to London, or at least it used to. We find ourselves in an office suite, Valerie, which you have been brought to, a conference room almost. It's long past sundown, and you were escorted over by one of your sire's many ghouls, many retainers, and told to go ahead.
I was going to say, should I do a rouse check?
Oh yes, please do your rouse check, and you are going to be starting this actually at 3 hunger.
Unchanged.
But you find yourselves in this conference room. You've been asked to take a seat and to await the arrival of your sire. What have you been thinking? What's been on your mind since you got handed over back to the accounting of your sire?
Since a couple weeks has passed, the main thought has been the worry of River, since De Leon said that he would hold River captive, and if I didn't come back in time, he might starve. So Valerie has been feeling rather, it's a mix of guilt and anger towards De Leon. The feeling, knowing that he complained or talked of not hurting one's property, and yet, imprisons and potentially hurt River especially after we helped him with the job. And that a lot of the anger that came from the betrayal kind of died down more to this point, and more as Valerie's kind of been had a lot of time to think and to contemplate what happened and her position now. And so more so just a disappointment in herself for letting her emotions get the best of her, and kind of realizing she's in a position now where she can't mess up like that because it would hurt someone like River, and the people that rely on her.
As you are thinking, the lights in this floor of the office, have been dimmed for the evening. No one is here. You can see that the limited lighting that there is kind of just cast a dark and foreboding atmosphere. But as you are sitting there contemplating the past couple weeks of your own life, you do hear the stilettos that your sire prefers to wear as they are coming and approaching from down the hall. And this conference room has glass walls, so you are able to see her shadow approaching. As she arrives, you see the familiar form of the mid to late 20s Caucasian woman who has bleached her hair white, almost like a form of an intimidation tactic. She's wearing a very expensive business formal dress, and just walks over to the head of the conference table, standing and looking down at you. You look awful.
Thank you, Agnes. I know I fucked up, but is River okay?
Your property shouldn't be, your little toy shouldn't be your concern right now, darling, does it even matter if if your life is forfeit right now? His is forfeit. Plus, it's a fucking ghoul. You have other things to consider right now.
It's more than just that he's a ghoul. I fucked up. He doesn't deserve to go down with me. He is
property, Valerie. I taught you better than that. I taught you a lot better than you've been behaving lately, and frankly, you're becoming a bit of a liability lately. Did you enjoy your little tantrum in St. Petersburg? Because it cost me a lot. You know that, right? Do you know how many favors I had to give that fucking piece of shit Rose to ensure that you didn't get killed right then and there? Do you know the lengths I went for you? And are you appreciative of it? No, you ask about a fucking dog of a ghoul.
Thank you, Agnes, at least, for doing that. I just don't want someone else to get hurt because of my fuck up. I know you taught me about being responsible for my actions, about accountability. And I just want to make sure that he's useful. You can at least, if I don't make it past this, you can use him.
You didn't want anyone to get hurt. Do you care about any of the individuals that you have been cavorting with? Any of those? The Anarchs? The free kindred of that piece of uninhabitable domain? Do you care about any of them?
Thought I did, but I found that a lot of them can't think past their own well-being, their own interests. Most of them run away from their responsibilities or, well, say that they're all together, but then sell you out for their own interests.
Oh. Of course, it seems like they're smarter than you, too. Being shown up by Anarchs now, that's just wonderful. Here, let me ask you a question. Valerie. And she sits down at the head of the table now across from you. What do you think would have happened to all of those people that you thought you cared about, to your ghoul that you care about? What do you think would have happened to all of those individuals had certain people of a much greater power vacuum, or from a much greater position than us? What do you think would have happened to every single one of those people if those people decided that they wanted to come in and make sure that everyone who heard what you said, they frankly didn't want them around anymore? What do you think would have happened?
Been a pretty large conflict, especially considering it was a rather large crowd.
A very
Not
large crowd. And while I relish the idea of that peninsula having some more issues than they already do, you dragged me into it as well. Do you think that was appropriate? Do you think that was smart?
No, I acted out of anger and
Out of anger. And?
I fucked up.
Yes!
I acted out of anger without thinking of the greater what would happen further on.
No, because you don't think of the consequences of your actions, Valerie. I have been very lenient with you and letting you cavort and sow your wild oats and have your little fun with those disgusting anarchs. But you are better than this. You are better than a fucking tantrum. Do you understand me?
Yes, Agnes.
And now I have to figure out what the fuck to do with you. And I, frankly, am at a loss. It's about this time that an elevator dings somewhere in the building. Agnes looks up towards that direction, and you see a shadow approaching and hear the firm footsteps of flat-soled shoes. Preston, if you would like to go ahead and describe yourself.
So, walking through the door, this overall presence kind of just sets in as a very commanding individual steps forward, wearing a very expensive self-tailored suit with a hair slicked back, holding a briefcase, walks up, makes no eye contact with Valerie at all, walks to the other end of the table and sits down.
Agnes, as he approached, would have gotten up from the head of the conference table and moved so that he could occupy it. Primogen, it's a pleasure to have you here. I wasn't expecting you.
Thought I'd drop in. See
You
what
honor us.
the big fuss is about.
Yes, the Prince of St. Petersburg, Carmine Russo, was kind enough to allow us to deal with the situation.
How kind.
She's been problematic. I've been allowing her a little bit of freedom. Perhaps it might have been misguided, but...
Maybe we should have kept a tighter leash on this one.
Apologies, Primogen. But she might have some useful information from the Anarchs. She's been spending enough time with them.
We shall see. Valerie, right?
Yes, Valerie Monet.
How are you?
frankly, I feel pretty terrible, but could be worse, I suppose. I'm still here and not executed by the Camarilla of St. Pete.
So you admit that you deserve to be executed?
I was more... Frankly, I am surprised, but I know that I could make up for it. I can do better. I've learned valuable lessons from what happened. I deluded myself into thinking that they were any different, or even the Anarchs I worked with were any different.
So, regale me, if you can. Tell me your side. What happened?
With the situation, the tea party, I need to explain a little bit before that to give greater context. I made a mistake while feeding, perhaps almost overfed, and lost myself. And when I awoke, I found my sire Agnes there after I have left for a period of time. And I thought that I was able to leave. I thought myself smarter, and I didn't know what to do, what to think. I was so, I guess, angry for the fact that I felt like everything I did was for nothing. And so in my anger, I went to this tea party, and I thought that I could share at least a little bit. But I thought I could share at least a little bit, and at least misguide them, dropping some very vague information and some incorrect information to at least make Agnes think that I was someone to take more seriously. And I found after that, everyone I thought the Camarilla almost tricked me for a period, made me think that they were different, that they were better than other Camarilla, talking about how they were all so different and progressive. And that was a lie. And even that gilded hound, De Leon, he made me think for a period that he was someone different too. Ultimately, he just serves after his own interests, not for the sake of others. And all of them can only see what's directly in front of them.
Agnes, this is the one you've told me about. Are you sure we don't have the wrong one?
This is the one, Primogen. She's shown exceptional mental fortitude.
Constant mistakes. Seeking constant control and losing it. What's it mean to be Ventrue to you, Valerie? Your sense of control, leadership? You try and go out and misdirect and cause more issues? What's your stance on the clan that you are? Where do you feel you are to belong, as you have dabbled in both?
Primogen, for a period, I couldn't accept being Ventrue. For a period, I tried to run away from it because I just couldn't accept it. I was
Well,
scared
learn to
of...
accept it. This is who you are.
That's what my time amongst the Anarchs and St. Pete Camarilla has taught me, that no matter how hard I try and run from it, try to look away and try to lie to myself, ultimately I am Ventrue. And I can't change that about me, and I can't avoid that. How everyone else will see me, and everyone else will treat me. And my time I spent thinking and waiting for your judgment, whatever punishment you see fit to me. I've realized that, and I know now not, at least if I were to not make it past tonight, that I can at least accept that part of myself, that I at least would know who I am and to not just avoid it anymore.
Valerie, I'm a very busy individual. Not only do I have to clean up the messes, the ones beneath me apparently, there are things happening here, and while you're over there, I'm playing in the little wasteland that is St. Petersburg. I am having to take time out to come and deal with this. What punishment would you see fit? As a Ventru, you need to show something as far as atonement. If you were in my position, what would you choose?
I'm not sure whether it be helping out with some sort of job or perhaps even gathering information amongst the Anarchs. I'm not sure what punishment you see fit for me. I know I messed up greatly, and that's where I am concerned of how can I atone for it. I know that at least if I were to make it past tonight, that now I know that to just stop trying to avoid who I am, and to at least understand I am a Ventru, and to start acting more like one.
Say you'd be willing to give up information on the Anarchs. Do you have anything worth any merit that you've gathered from them thus far?
There appears to be someone or something making whites in different areas of St. Pete. Not sure how or the means of which they do so, but we encountered one that became a white way too quickly. They were, I think, less than 3 years old, 5 years old as a kindred, and they had fallen so fast, which I was investigating.
Well, I gotta give the Anarchs some credit. They managed to keep that under wraps pretty efficiently. White's not generally something that is
No.
quiet.
You've only
It
found
was
one?
partially thanks to me and the group that I was a part of for keeping it quiet.
So you can keep things quiet then. So you have that capability. Good.
We already have
So
so many rabid animals we deal with over here.
Yeah.
That was my goal, to deal with whatever was causing that, to find the source of it. The others wanted just to kill it and just be done with it. I was trying to imprison it, trying to find out what his source was, where it came from. But like I said before, most of them can't see past the next step. That's what I think angers me most about a lot of the individuals in St. Pete.
They're messy. I taught you that.
I had to see it for myself.
You've only found one, correct?
There could be more. It's unsure exactly how, if there's just one or if there's more. If it was created, there could be always another made. So that's why I was trying to find where this source is, to snuff it out at the root.
How many kine have been killed so far?
It's indeterminate. There have been many missing cases, some of which have been found and reported to be animal attacks and murders, and some that bodies have been hidden for quite some time.
Give me a rough estimate, Valerie. If you could put a number on it, put a number on it.
Out of character, how much was it again? Did I know?
Out of character, there were 10 bodies that you found 2 months ago in the sewers. And then there was also like 9 bodies, so could be anywhere above 20 dead now.
Confirmed that body that I've seen, about 20.
About 20 or 20?
Specifically 19 that I've seen.
That's too many.
What?
That's noticeable.
That's what we're working on, to keep it under wraps and to make sure that the situation is dealt with. And I've done good enough of my job in that regard to make sure that no information is gotten out. You know that I can do this if I'm not blinded by my own stupid anger.
Primogen, if I may.
Go ahead.
It might be more beneficial to have a control group within that little experiment that Isabel de Navarra created across the bay. Something that we can manipulate and take and use to our advantage. We don't know enough of what's going on over there. And we already have, with the power plant and the recent prison escape, we've got our hands full on that. Perhaps some delegation would be beneficial to us.
Not to mention them not being listened to by another, but that's a very different matter. Valerie. You will keep Agnes up to date on everything that is going on. The littlest thing someone steps out of line, Agnes is to know.
How will I keep in contact during that? I may be closely
That's
watched
not my
now.
concern. You will contact Agnes. If a pebble moves oddly across the street from a car driving, I want it reported.
Understood.
And if they can do this, maybe you're onto something about them.
However, Primogen, I do agree that my child did mess up. And while she can try to make amends by doing this for us, I do believe she still requires some punishment. The Prince of St. Petersburg requested that we erase all memory of the deputies that detained her. I had to offer a boon, and that is what he wanted for it, to retrieve her for, well. However, we know our clan well, Primogen, and one of the things that is our weakness is our pride. Valerie has always been very proud of her lineage and her roots. My proposal is that we take it away from her. She doesn't remember anything regarding her education on her lineage. Give her very little to be proud of.
You can't do that to me.
Saying we can't do something.
We can do whatever we wish right now to you, Valerie. If I wanted to take your fucking arm off, I could.
I'd almost prefer that in my memory. Please, I can't.
The squabbles
I don't want to
in the wind,
lose.
we could just end them now.
We need her.
No,
Primogen, we need her. For what you intend, we need her. If we want it to work, we need her. All of the others have failed. She was the only one that was showing potential for it.
But the potential here, is this what you have to show for it?
I will be more hands-on, my Primogen. I can swear you that. But all of the others have been failures. If we want this to work, we need a formidable one, and she has been the best one so far.
Fine. Best one.
Primogen, do you wish to do the honors, or shall I?
Just make sure I understand your boon correctly, as we don't mess this up too bad.
She is
Memory
to
of the deputies.
She is to forget their identities. They are just faceless to her and nameless. And as for the lineage, she doesn't have any recollection of it. She will not have any recollection of ever being part of the Cult of Mithras.
Gladly.
She's not. As far as she's aware, she's not special in any capacity.
Because they're not.
Of course,
please, I don't make me lose the memories of my time, please. That's what makes me who I am now. I
who
remember
you are is what Agnes will make you. You'll walk forward, make direct eye contact.
Valerie, do you resist?
I'll try. I have to try at least.
All right, to resist Forgetful Mind, you have to do Intelligence and Resolve.
I'm going to rouse as well.
Okay.
Hunger unchanged. Oh, I'll use the willpower. I didn't mean to do that. Oh well, 9 successes crit.
Okay. You meet Edward Bateman's gaze, and you feel the pressure in your mind as he does this Forgetful Mind on you. A power that you are familiar with because it is your favorite thing to do. But you resist. You are able to push him away. How do you react?
Well, if Valerie is of greater composure, she might have had a chance to maybe regain her, try and pretend that she lost her memories, but she's just freaking out right now. She's got kind of bloody tears now forming as she's just begging, just please, I don't want to forget it all, please, and it's just kind of, I don't want to forget River, I don't want to forget my time in the cult, I don't want to fall out of favor of Mithras, please.
Give me a manipulation and subterfuge. No, a composure and subterfuge. No, wait, either one. Manipulation or composure and subterfuge to see if you can fake your way through this.
Why not? We'll rouse. Hunger unchanged.
Damn, you're getting lucky with those rouse checks.
Lucky or skilled? All right, so 6 dice.
Okay.
Why not use a willpower? It's 4 successes.
Edward, Primogen, Mr. Bateman. It didn't work, and you can tell it didn't work.
Impressive.
Agnes will look to you, Primogen. Did it work?
It seems it has not.
Thus my case stands. She's our best opportunity for it.
I'm not impressed easily. Not many can withstand that.
Shall we try again?
We'll give it another try. Miss Monet, this is something that has to be done. I'm aware of your overall holdings you have on your memories. But as your betters have gone far beyond what I would do for you, I suggest that you step down.
And Agnes will be walking over and put her hand on her hands on Valerie's shoulders and just lean down and very, very in like a very loving, like just very loving a tone. Just accept it, darling. It's a punishment for now, but you just proved you are indeed special, and you are special. And you have a greater purpose. But for you to achieve that purpose, we need you to forget.
Still crying. She kind of now starting to understand that this, is going to happen one way or another. So just kind of virtuously nod as she makes eye contact with Bateman, and she'll just make sure I don't forget about River. And okay, he's been really good, and I don't want to lose him.
You keep squabbling about this River, I'm going to remove everything about them.
She's young. She still has attachments to her pets. She needs a servant over there anyway, Primogen, and he's malleable.
At least we have a leverage point. You'll get the eye contact with Valerie.
You agreed to, and this time you are not resisting?
Accept the inevitable.
Okay. Your memories are scrambled briefly as Edward Bateman's sheer force of will bears down on your mind. Any tears that you have been crying begin to come out even stronger. And just the sheer pressure of his will against yours is painful almost. This is a very powerful man. The fact that you were able to resist him once is impressive in itself, is a feat to be bragged about. Not that you'll be able to, because as he looks away, you've forgotten every part of being of the cult of Mithras. You've forgotten the faces and names of the deputies that brought you to Prince Carmine. Just blank slates in your mind now. No names. You've forgotten every aspect that you thought made you superior and special within the Ventrue. And it's all gone. You're just now in a chair in this conference room, unsure of why you were even here to begin with. You remember the tea party, and you remember spouting out nonsensical rumors that you have heard, just hearsay, really, of the cult of Mithras. But you're not of that lineage. You're not of that cult. What would you know? You're just a standard Ventrue that ran away from their mommy.
I would like to say, like, during like the whole memory scramble, when feeling the full weight of Bateman, like Valerie would have like under her breath, just uttered like, "Help me, Dad, help!" And then before losing their memories fully, and now kind of like realizing, wondering why they just feel so upset for no reason. Like she kind of like wipes her face, seeing blood, kind of being a little confused why she's crying, as she, what? God, I don't know why I'm.
It's all over. It's all over.
Sorry
sweet.
about that.
It's all over, darling. You've had a rough day. But you have a job now, right?
Yes, I do. I'll go back. I'll make sure to let you know what happens.
I should suggest staying in line. We'll be sending someone just to keep an eye on things as well.
Yes, we will be. Have a story ready, of course, Valerie, of how you escaped your terrible sire and the horrors of the Tampa court. Come back with a scary story. Come back traumatized. They're so sentimental over there.
The week go across the bay.
But I can arrange for her to be delivered. And she'll reach over for an intercom on the desk. Marquis, come in. Valerie, you hear the footsteps, and you see the shadow approaching as your father enters the room and bows his head obediently to his Ventrue betters. Her father, her kind father, my ghoul.
Excellent.
Maybe Daddy helped her escape.
What a touching story. I'm sure they'll eat it up over there.
Valerie, go with your father. Return to the Anarch territories. Ensure that this white problem is taken care of. And I will be in touch. Understood?
Understood.
And if we hear any problems from you again, she'll look to Edward Bateman. When was the last time our prince has had a meal?
I believe it's been a bit. I think he's due here soon, actually.
You wouldn't want that, would you, Valerie?
He's very ravenous.
No, but Agnes, I will make sure now I will become someone you will respect.
She will grab you by your chin and force you to look at her. I don't want to respect you. I want you to make me proud. Understood?
No, like as she can see that there's like more of a steeled resolve now behind her eyes. She seems to have gotten something in her head as she just understood.
Now go and do the work that we have given you. She'll release your chin. Go play Anarch, darling.
She'll nod and kind of start walking towards her father, not even looking at him, as just when she gets next to him, just says, "Take me where I need to go."
Mark, before you go, and she summons him over, and he walks over diligently and just exposes his wrist to her, in which she will take a bite and just the smallest of sips from him before offering her wrist as well and allowing him to take a sip of her wrist. Topping up, it's going to be a while till I see him. Have fun playing Anarch, darling. But remember where you really belong.
She'll just keep her mouth shut and nod as she looks to her father with disgust, kind of waiting for him to finish up.
Your father finishes drinking of his Domitor's wrist and begins to walk out of the conference room, holding the door open for you.
I'll walk out without looking at him, just walk forward.
You follow him over to the elevators and get in as he hits the button for the parking garage. Once the door's closed, he doesn't look at you, keeping his head obediently down, but you see him reach into his jacket pocket and offer a packet of wet wipes.
Like for a moment, she feels like this flash of anger as she looks at him, but kind of softens as she'll just sigh and like take the wipe. She'll start cleaning up her face, still feeling this sense of sadness that she can't quite understand. Something she feels bothered. She can't quite put her finger on it as she just he maintains her composure in front of her father.
You ride the elevator down. He leads you to a car, one of those, a Lincoln. Opens the back seat for you to allow you in and begins driving off. Back in the conference room, Agnes and Bateman are still standing, having watched you both leave. And Agnes turns to her primogen and bows her head obediently. It will work, I promise you.
For your sake, I hope so.
Yes,
I
primogen.
wonder how well you would do against him.
And you see, Bateman can see a visible dread on her face as he says that. Hopefully she'll do better this time and it won't have to come to that.
Hope your pawn works out.
And that's where we're going to end tonight's session of St. Pete by Night. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. Thank you so much for being patient with that break of the Don't Get Caught break. We had to do a little bit of table restructuring, but we're going to be back here next week on Thursday at the same time as always. Thank you so much to Preston for playing the infamous Edward Bateman and bringing in a little bit of the Tampa tea. Thank you so much to Jay for being such a great sport about all of this. Don't forget to check us out. Today's Thursday, so tomorrow for our Hunter the Reckoning stream, what the hell was that? This Saturday, we also have a new episode of After Dark. On Sunday, we have Bloody Strings, and then our Camarilla Vampire Chronicle. And then on Tuesday, we have another episode of our Werewolf Chronicle. Rage Across Tampa, where Preston here plays the lovable himbo lupus-born Aiden Goodspeed. So please make sure to check out all of our great content. We've just got so much going on here on St. Pete by Night, but we will catch you here next week. Bye.
This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production. Don't Get Caught is produced in agreement with the World of Darkness and Dark Pact. The storyteller for Don't Get Caught is Crafty. Tonight's characters were voiced by Izumi, Judikael, Krazaz, and Jay. Visit our website at stpetbynight.com for more information about all our productions and how you can become part of our community. Thank you for listening. Until next time, fangs, stakes, and claws out.